Okay, so now we're going to review, we're going to look over some distance problems, which will also be on the quiz. So this one is saying we need to calculate the distance of each segment, with the given endpoints, round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so we have these two endpoints, A and B, and they gave us those coordinates. Now, starting point usually is the letter that appears first. So A appears first here, so that's going to be my starting point. Now, they don't necessarily have to be in alphabetical order, but in this case, it is. All right, so first things first, you want to go ahead and just mark each of your values, just like what you did with your midpoint values. And then we're going to use the distance formula. So this will be the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So this is our distance formula. And then we're going to replace everything. So x2, that was -2 minus +6 squared. Y2, 4 minus -2 squared. Now, if you remember back in Algebra 1, when you see a double negative, you're actually doing 4 plus 2 squared plus -2 minus 6 squared. And just like what we were with order of operations, you want to solve whatever is inside the parentheses first. So in the parentheses, -2 minus 6 is just -8 squared. 4 plus 2, that's just going to be 6 squared. And then we want to evaluate everything. So -8 squared is the same as saying -8 times -8, which is a +64. So 64 plus 6 squared, which is 36. And when we add those together, we're going to get 100, but we can't forget that square root. So the square root of 100 is just 10. Okay, sometimes they won't be nice even numbers like this, but in this case it was. Now let's look over here in this example. This one, they gave us an actual map to work with, and we have to find a distance between the two cities. Now we have to also round our answer to the nearest tenth. Now, Everett and Fairfield. Again, it's not always going to be alphabetical order, but usually the first thing you see, that's your first point. And then the second is your other point. So that's going to be my end point. All right. So first, before we can answer this, we actually need to find those coordinates. So Everett is right over here, right? So if we notice in the y-axis, it looks like everything is going by twos. -2, -4, -6, right? And Everett is between -2 and -4. And what do we know is the number between these two? Well, -5. So your x value for Everett is -5. And my y value, just like in the x-axis, this is also going by twos. So you can fill in the axis if that helps you. And it's also between 4 and 6, but it's positive. So between these two numbers is a +5. And Fairfield, let's see, Fairfield is all the way down here. And the x value is a -8. But the y value, well, this is going to be a -2. This is a -4. I'm just going by what I can see in the other y-axis. So whatever is between -1 and -4 is -3. Sorry, -2 and -4 is -3. Right, that's between those two. So now I have my coordinates and I just want to name everything. So let's go ahead and name everything. This is x1, that's y2. No, that's y1, x2, and this is y2. So these will be the values I'm going to plug into my distance formula. And again, you want to get in the habit of writing your distance formula so you can remember it. Your distance formula will not be given to you, as also the midpoint value formula will not be given to you. So you have x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And everything is being taken to the square root. And then all you need to do is plug everything in. So x2 would be negative 8 minus negative 5 squared plus y2, which is a negative 3 minus 5 squared. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And I'm just going to go ahead and solve everything. Just like before, I have those double negatives. So I'm going to simplify this to be negative 8 plus 5 squared plus negative 3 minus 5 squared. And then in this point, this will be negative 3 squared plus negative 3 minus 5, which is negative 8 squared. The square root, so negative 3 squared is the same as saying negative 3 times negative 3, which is a positive 9. Negative 8 squared is again like if you're doing negative 8 times negative 8, which is a positive 64. Okay, you add those together, and you should get the square root of 73. And you want to put this one in your calculator. So this one is going to give you a decimal. And if I were to go quickly put that into my calculator. So let's see the square, 73 square root. And I get something like this. I have like 8.544. To round to the nearest tenths, this 5 is the tens place. I need to look at the 4 to see if it's going to go up 1 or stay the same. So the rhyme usually goes 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise a score. So this is 4. It's less than 5. So this one I'm going to leave it as 8.5. So the distance is about 8.5. And that's the answer there. Right? Now, if you notice with your distance answers, they're positive. This is a usual thing. Distance, when you're measuring a distance between two things, they're usually positive values. I mean, you don't tell someone to go, if they're trying to go to a place, you don't tell them, oh, just go negative 5 miles. That doesn't make sense to anybody. So distance values will always be positive. Your midpoint values can be positive or negative.